Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Welcome back to the Fake Ass Book Club. It's your girl Moni.
And this is Kat.
What's up, Kat?
Oh, not the temperature, that's for sure. It's
Yeah,
down.
the outfit is giving. It's cold outside.
It is. It's very, very cold. It's a cold ass world.
Man, all right. Well, listen, we are here to talk about that. Actually, that's actually a really great segue into our episode because it is a cold world. Today's topic is going to be "Killers of the Flower Moon" by David Grann. We have finally arrived, friend. We've been talking about this no less than about 2 months, and we have finally made our way around to discussing this, very powerful and poignant
Title.
point of history of American, a point in American history, and so here we are.
Were you aware of this story before you heard about the movie and book?
Absolutely not.
Me
I didn't learn
neither.
shit in school, apparently. No.
I mean,
No.
I feel like I try to know a lot of stuff. Of course, it's impossible to know all the things. But yeah, this was a new one for me, and I'm going to say it hurt my feelings.
That's so. I mean, it's not. Well,
It
yes,
got
that's
me.
so mean.
It got me right
It
in
hurt
the.
my feelings.
It got me right in the fifis.
It got me too. It was really sad, you guys. And I do want to give a trigger warning for this. We should do this literally for every book that we read, y'all. If y'all are new here, we read sad books, okay?
And we
God.
spoil. There's good.
And
We're
we
just gonna
spoil
talk
it.
about it, okay? So if you don't want it
So-
spoiled, stop, and then come back.
Yes. So I do feel like we have to say that, like, this book in particular, especially I think because it's based on a true story, and a lot of what was in the book was like literally from files and stuff like that, and actual firsthand accounts and all of that kind of stuff. So it is quite, killers is in the title. So yeah, just listen with some discretion if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. We're gonna jump into it. So actually, before the dedication, I do want to just give you guys the plot real quick. Or the summary. So, Killers of the Flower Moon revolves around a series of mysterious murders targeting the Osage Indian Nation in the 1920s. The Osage, having discovered oil on their land, became immensely wealthy. However, this newfound prosperity attracted greed, leading to a string of murders that shook the community. The book follows the investigation led by the newly formed FBI under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover as they uncover a complex web of conspiracy, corruption, and betrayal. So that is the book today. Whew. So that's what we have to get into. And I think before we do that, it's a good time to dedicate this episode. So hands over your hearts, everyone. I just want to, as always, dedicate this episode to our patrons. You guys are consistently my faves, consistently show up for us and to support. So it means a lot, because shit, times is hard out here. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. You guys are the personification of that. So thank you so much. Also, I want to personally dedicate this episode to the Osage Nation. As sad as this book is, I'm truly grateful to have had an opportunity to learn about this story, because like I said, I didn't learn about this in school, and this wasn't even anything that I was checking for. So I'm glad that this story was illuminated. I'm glad I got to learn about this, as sad as it was. And I just feel like hopefully we're able to share this information with other people and shine a light on them, that these lives that were lost in this book, these sons and daughters, their lives weren't lost in vain. Like, we won't forget these people. So I just feel like I want to shout out to them and all of their ancestors. So what about you, friend?
Yes, and I want to dedicate this episode to nice white people, especially the ones who listen to our podcast. But it took a lot of really it's one thing to fight for your own freedom, but it really is something to fight for someone else's, to realize the grander truth that you're not free until everyone's free. And so for everyone, like I said, we did a live where we, shouting out Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for, getting shot. Like, he knew what was coming. Like, we're going to talk about the FBI, but, they're a mixed bag, like it's, they did good and bad stuff. And I think that for all the people back then who decided to side with justice and not a concept of white supremacy, that took a lot of character and bravery, because historically, racist favorite thing to say, the only thing I hate more than a nigger is a nigger lover. Dedication over.
Wow. So do you see why we had to do sort of that little disclaimer at the beginning? Because we talk is real. The talk is real,
we're about to talk
guys.
about some mean ones.
And and it goes down. So I'm going to give you guys a little, well, actually, why don't you read a little bit about the author really quickly, and then I'll get into the stuff.
Yes. David Grann is a #1 New York Times best-selling author and an award-winning staff writer at the New Yorker magazine. In addition to writing, Grann is a frequent speaker who has given talks about everything from Killers of the Flower Moon and the importance of historical memory to the dangers of complicity in unjust systems, and from the art of writing and detection to the leadership methods of explorers such as Ernest Shackleton. Grann holds master's degrees in international relations from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy and creative writing from Boston University. After graduating from Connecticut College in 1989, he received a Thomas J. Watson Fellowship and did research in Mexico, where he began his career in journalism. He currently lives in New York with his wife and 2 children.
Wow, flex on them with master's degrees, though. Okay.
Yes, that was hard to say even. That was a mouthful. So he's fancy pants.
Definitely. Okay, that's what's up. So he's well read and maybe, creative writing, all of that kind of stuff. So
I don't think he did a bad job in any way. The book had 3 parts. I just, I wasn't able to finish it. Let me just say that now. I'm showing up fake. I listened to part of an abridged audiobook that was for young readers, because I was that took out some of the more disturbing parts, and I still wasn't able to finish it. Like, I had plenty of time. I was crying too much. It was too sad.
You're like, I can't do it, Captain. I have the
power. But I did look up what happened in real life, and I watched some reviews of the book and the movie so that at least I knew what happened.
Okay, fair enough. I do understand. I understand that completely. And so if you guys are going to read this book is about 352 pages. It was published back in April of 2017. It's about a 9-hour audiobook read. And on this particular book that she's talking about, I listened to the unabridged version, and it was 3 different voice actors. So it was Will Patton, Anne Marie Lee, and Danny Campbell. So it was kind of interesting the way they did it, because it was like, it was like leading up to it, in the middle of it, and then kind of after. And it was set up like a whodunit, like it was almost like a murder mystery. So I think if you're into true crime, honestly, this is a true crime book. And I thought it was an interesting, I don't know, so it wasn't like a story. Like, what I noticed was, I know that they did do a movie version of this. So the book was adapted into a film that was directed by Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone, who just won an award. I don't know if it was Oscar. What did the Oscars
Golden
just pass?
Globes. No, we
Golden
haven't had
Globe.
the
You
Oscars
just we were
yet.
just talking about that. Okay, I don't know, but yeah, she just won. She just won for her performance in that. So
Oh,
shout out
good.
to you, Lily Gladstone, for that. And let's see, it was released in October of 2023. So I think that's what actually put it on my radar. Because every time there's a movie, I'm always like curious, is there a book that is based on? So I'll usually look it up, and I was like, oh, it's a book. I want to read it. And so yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I wanted to get into it because I just felt like, this is a part of history that I don't think gets really talked about in school a lot. Like I know we did not learn a lot about, other than fourth grade. I cannot remember. And I remember doing a report on the Creek Indians. Other than that, I don't remember learning about indigenous Americans like that, except for just in passing. It was never like in depth.
Oh
And it
yeah,
was
nothing
never,
comprehensive or
yeah.
integrating it into the history. Like I said, the American education system segregates history. That's why we have to have a Black History Month, or else we won't learn about Black people.
Mhm.
But it is, I think, better to teach history like just through the lens of it happened to everyone. So
Yeah.
but one of the things that's mentioned in the book that really lit a fire under me and did remind me of school was when they were discussing Little House on the Prairie, and by, is it Laura
Oh
Ingalls Wilder?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
And
that area.
yeah. So I actually remember in school, like when we were reading this book in school, and it was the scene where, the little girl's asking Paul, like, well, why don't you like the Indians? He's like, I'll just like it when they're all gone. It's like, well, why'd you come to their land if you don't like them? Or like when Mrs. Ingalls, like when two of the Indians were in the house, and she was like, I just don't like them. And I remember even as a child thinking, I mean, I didn't think it like this, but this is what I was thinking. This bitch has a lot of nerve. Like you really, like, you over here on their land and you talking about you don't like them. Like
I just don't like them.
I just remember thinking, like, even though this story is being told from the point of view of the settlers, like, y'all still sound wrong. Like, I remember even as a child being really disturbed by that and having no one to talk to about it.
Well, I like that you mentioned that because, when you're talking about, like, a lot of times when you are taking in a narrative, you sort of instantly, whoever's vantage point is from, you typically sort of feel some sort of allegiance, or like you're rooting for that person in a way.
Yeah, the protagonist.
So I was trying to watch this, and I didn't get a chance to finish watching it. It's pretty long, but I don't want to talk about why I didn't get to finish watching this, because it may have been streamed on a thing that, like. But anyway, I couldn't
talk about.
Yeah, we don't know what we're talking about. But I couldn't get through it. But the way that Martin Scorsese does it is sort of it's not from an Osage perspective.
Yeah.
It's definitely from the white settlers who all inundated this area because they knew that it was like, okay, we got to get out here. We got to try to make this money. We got to do that thing. And it's set up like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a love story.
It is framed like that. I remember, okay, so one of the reviews I saw online, I wanted to get like a sort of a indigenous woman's perspective on the film. So I found a creator, Alashia Queen is the name of her channel, and she gave a really good interview because she's like, I feel like she said the book did a better job than the movie telling the story.
Always. And
she was saying that the question that was the most obvious question to her that should have been asked and answered but wasn't, was why they marry these white dudes. Like,
God, I was trying to understand.
Right? So that was the title of the video. So that's why I was like, let me click on this, because yes, that is my question. Thank you, darling.
Girl, I needed to know, like, why are y'all doing this?
So she laid it out really well. So she was like, because even though they talk about the guardianships, she was like, you have to think about the mindsets of these younger Osage Nation people. Like, so much of the system took them away from their culture, took them to these boarding schools. Like, you you want to see as acceptable. You don't want to be seen as backwards. So when they're finally like living back with their people, they don't want to be aligned with their ways. They want to be seen as, aligned with the sort of more Eurocentric value system. And because they would have to have a guardian, they didn't want it to be a stranger. They prefer it to be their husband. So that way, if their husband was a white man, that way they could keep their guardianship in their family. So they would think.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, thanks for laying that out, because that didn't make sense to me either. I'm like, why would? But we see it all the time though in our own culture. Like it's also seen as a status symbol of look how far I've come.
Amen. That is so true. And so that was a female perspective. I actually was able. So there was I'm trying to think what is his name. Christopher Cote. So this is another point of discussion became Scorsese's choice to make Ernest Burkhart a white man who committed the film's central crimes, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, the main character. Christopher Cote, an Osage language consultant on the film, told The Hollywood Reporter on October the 19th that Martin Scorsese, not being Osage, I think he did a great job of representing our people, but this history is being told almost from the perspective of Ernest Burkhart. They kind of get his conscience, and they kind of depict that there's love. He said at the Los Angeles film's premiere, but when somebody conspires to murder your entire family, that's not love. That's not love. That is just beyond abuse. And I thought that was really
actually
nice.
Should we tell the people what happened? Because we're talking about this like everybody knows.
That is so true. Let's get into it. Friend, do you want to do a breakdown then?
No.
Or I can give an intro to where it's kind of starts.
Okay.
So
it's sad, y'all.
Okay. So the Osage murders in the 1920s unfold against the backdrop of the Osage Nation's newfound wealth from the oil royalties, and occurred in the context of the Osage Nation's history. Originally from the Ohio Valley, the Osage were forcibly relocated to Oklahoma, where the discovery of oil on their land brought immense wealth, becoming the richest people per capita. Because of this, the Osage faced exploitation due to their prosperity. A series of targeted murders unfolded, revealing a sinister plot to control Osage wealth. Ultimately, an investigation involving the FBI exposes corruption and racism, highlighting the enduring impact of historical injustices in a once thriving community. So that's the overview, right?
Yeah.
And then we can break down. We can start with the characters.
So I feel like the main ones were like Molly and Ernest, right?
Yes.
Like they were and then Ernest was played by Leonardo DiCaprio. And like you said, they're trying to make it seem like he actually loved her. It seems like they didn't fight a whole bunch, probably because she was sick the whole time because he was poisoning her. But like they had kids, you know what I mean? From the outside looking in, they seem like a happily married couple, but there's no way to frame it romantically. Like he's conflicted because he's like, well, I'm part of this vast conspiracy where I have to like kill you and your family, but I actually love you. No, love would have brought you home last night. Like, What are you talking about?
I mean, that would have been the least of what love might have done in that situation. So it was really sick. And it was like when they were murdering other Osage Indians and stuff, he was complicit in like grave robbing and, because they would dig up people and take, dig up graves and steal the jewelry. Or when other murders would happen, like he was part of like confiscating,
covering up
evidence, stuff and covering things up,
making
sure
everybody be out of town so you couldn't investigate it right. And then the other main guy was Hale, who was like the
William Hale. He was a local like white settler, and he was a rancher. And he was like, they framed him like he was this.
He was Santa Claus. He might as well just been Santa Claus. He was just an elderly, well-loved white man who was at the center of it all, as it turns out. And and it was just, I guess, like like you said, in the book, you don't immediately know what was going on, as opposed to like in the movie, you kind of, it's all from how it was explained. I haven't seen the film. I don't think I ever will. To me, that'd be like watching Schindler's List. I don't really need to,
Mm.
I saw it the one time, but even this, this has been a long time coming because I've been like hesitant to consume it because it's so upsetting to me. Like, this is just like what people will do, because not only just for money, but just because they don't want to see you have money or people like you have money. Because this is the same place where the Black Wall Street riots happened too. Like,
Mhm.
Oklahoma is wild.
Wow. No wonder Crystal's like, man, I have to get the hell up out of there, boy.
For
Like, fuck that place.
real.
Yeah, dang.
For real. Like, this is some, but I like that the YouTube channel I was talking about, the Alachia Queen. She was talking about how like it's easy to frame this as like, oh, these white people are so evil, but she's like, this is a human thing. Like, people do this to each other over and
They
over
do.
again in history, and it has a name. The Inner Cosmos podcast, I think I've referenced it before, and it's this sort of understanding into human neurology, and there's something called syndrome E, where you disassociate someone else's like humanity, basically.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it takes to be able to do it. I mean, it's the only, I don't know how else you could be in a space where you could actively participate, because even when they were like trying to, so listen, I gave the summary. I don't know if you want to do a beat by beat, because I don't know if this really, what I said really kind of gets into it, but
no, it's messed up because the FBI, they figure out what's going on, they get tried, but then there's also a lot of them paying off juries, because sometimes it would be a hung jury even though it's very clear what happened. They'd get found guilty and sentenced for life, but then get paroled. There was one of them had his sentence, what is it called, he got pardoned.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy because Molly, to me she's the true protagonist. Like, she's the one who kind of survived it as much as she could, but like the idea of I'm sorry, it's just so upsetting to think about like this man who she trusts, you know what I mean? Like,
but it was crazy because he was the nephew of Hale. So Hale kind of like put that bug in his ear. He kind of like let him know, like, hey, if you're coming out here, like, you need to be trying to, because he started off as a driver, like he was driving around for work. That was the thing that was taking the white people out too, because you have these super rich, Native Americans, and they have white servants. Like, they were disgusted. You know what I mean?
they're like, is that a nigga on a horse?
Like, all of that, and it was super crazy. So he knew who she was, and then Hale was kind of like, yeah, you should holler at her, because once her mom dies, all of her head rights go to, well, actually all the head rights I think went to the mom. So he was like, if you marry her, if you get entangled with her, like, you'll get. And so head rights being like, because there was
mineral
oil
rights,
on their land,
yeah,
they were able to actually tap the land. So anytime anybody wanted to get the oil out of the land, they'd have to pay you.
And
so that
and you could sell the land all you want to, but the mineral rights belong to the Osage Nation. Period.
Which,
it could only be
inherited,
and it could only be inherited. They couldn't be sold.
Oh, a shout out to the Osage Nation for like
having that
working
foresight.
that deal with the
But
government.
somehow they were too feeble to handle their own money,
which is where the Guardians come in at. So they had to have people over their stuff.
White people. They had to be white people.
Do we even have to say that they stole these people's money?
I mean, you probably can't say it enough for the Osage people.
They stole their money.
Yeah.
And they charged them out of control. So like, the average lifespan of an Osage at this time was like 50. They weren't living above that. Like, you hear about these murders, you're 28, you're 42, you're 30. Like, these were young people being targeted, and they were calling it the wasting illness, because it was like they're just mysteriously sick and dying, or they have diabetes. And the Osage, like, Hale was always kind of putting it like, oh, they're sickly people, and we got to take care of it, and I'm the biggest champion for them.
They're just feeble in body and mind, you see.
Right, so we got to take care of them. I mean,
they're the white man's burden.
Man, I'm just saying.
Well, and it sounds like it was way more people than the FBI even said, because they said it was like maybe about 20 people, and there's reason to believe it may have been in the hundreds.
Yeah, because they were only able to really find that little
Evidence. Yeah.
that little section. But I think like toward the end of the book, that third narrator was like, yeah, I think that once things unfolded, they were like, yo, this was way
You know
crazy.
what? I think the best lesson I liked from this is the idea that money won't save you. Like, I think for so many people, like, there's nothing wrong with having goals and aspirations and wanting nice things. Go for it. Just know it will not keep you safe. Like, that is not what it will do. If anything, it a lot of times puts a nice little target on your back.
Yeah. And it was really sad to hear, like the tribe talk about that, like, doing their like community meetings and stuff. And it was just like, it was just sad just hearing them long for that. They were like, we should have known that this was going to turn into this. You know what I mean? We never wanted any of this. Like, we were always just, we just wanted to be left alone. It's just what every person always says. Like, just leave us alone, though. I don't know why that is so hard. And so it was really, really sad. What did you think, though? So how much did you know about the FBI before this? Like, I know, there's always those theories about, the government conspiring to, especially the FBI.
A theory. They had to, I feel like
word. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying it wrong, but there's a conversation.
It is a conspiracy. I mean, it's just a successful conspiracy. It just wasn't that secret because, like, Martin Luther King Jr.'s family was able to sue the FBI. Like, y'all did this. Like, it's not even like a theory. Like, it's proven. Like, y'all did this. It's just...
Yeah, that was eye-opening. I mean, like...
I was familiar with the FBI's tactics, I'll say that. And just how they, like I said, they put plants. There's just so many... Between the CIA and the FBI, they've done so many things to engineer situations for non-white people that sometimes it's hard to want to give them credit when they do something right. Because it is important to have this level of investigation for the justice system, and be able to investigate interstate crimes and corruption. Because they brought up the Teapot Dome scandal, all that kind of stuff, like where basically there are these kind of schemes to bribe public officials to give certain businesses an advantage. I don't know. I just talked myself into a bunch of sad.
Well, I guess I'd never thought about the genesis of the FBI and like where it started. So I didn't recognize that it started right at this point, and how, Edgar Hoover was just this super ambitious sort of political person who was always looking to be sort of like, he needed his title to sort of to solidify his place. And so this was a really good opportunity when they were like, yo, we keep getting these inquiries from the Osage Nation to investigate this. And so he wanted to streamline, like, kind of like what we know as the FBI. And like, he's the one who kind of like gave them the outfits and wanted them to dress a certain way and have a certain code of conduct and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, they never really knew how corrupt he was, because he wasn't obviously presenting himself in that way. But he definitely, got into the whole, like what we know him, like as far as Martin Luther King and who the young one, 21 years old. I can't think of his name.
Fred Hampton.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. I'm so sorry. That's disrespectful.
That's okay. It's late.
It's late, but yeah, Fred Hampton, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, by the time that came around, it was a well-oiled machine. But like, this was like the very genesis of that. But it sounds like the person who they tapped to investigate initially, he seemed like an upright person. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely. And let me think, what was his name?
Oh yeah,
Tom White. Yeah, he was a former Texas Ranger. Yeah,
he really wanted to know what was going on, and to the point where he knew it was so deep. He's like, I can't even be too direct with this because I don't know who all is in it. Because it's like, it's just this huge conspiracy to it's just so sad. Like, it's just so, like,
The
if y'all
doctors
spent
were
this
involved.
much time just worrying about yourself and not sabotaging somebody else, you would be fine. Like, the idea that it's any group of people that's keeping you, like, I have such an aversion to that, where it's like, oh, it's the Jews or it's the Mexicans or it's the, whatever group you want to say, like, that's keeping you there. And it's like, no, it's like, it's all these trans people. It's like, no, it's you. You are in your way. Stop it.
Please stop.
Like,
Well, and
yeah,
it
you
was-
don't have to blame all these people.
But I mean, then it's like I have to now be accountable for my part in my own, non-success or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or whatever. So nobody
Whether
wants to
you
do
win
that.
or you fail, that's you. I mean, you stumble into
Well-
some dumb luck sometime, but most of the time, that's you. That's just
A big old fat you.
just do better or be a person you'd want to be around. I don't know. Oh, you know what this did remind me? This reminded me of another book we read,
Do tell.
Mexican Gothic.
Okay.
It had some similar themes because the cousin in there was being poisoned for her money.
Yeah, she was. She was. I
Mhm.
forgot about that. I liked
Yeah.
that book.
It was a very
I
good
was like,
book.
wait a minute.
Same thing though about
Yeah.
a young woman being targeted, or young women being
That's
targeted
right.
for their money, and also a little eugenics in there. And but yeah, it definitely reminded me of that, of this sort of idea that we have the right to rule over you because we're genetically superior.
It's just messed up. Well, I mean, I think the part too that makes it even worse is just the compounded interconnectedness of the whole community and how like all of the community was like conspiring, like down to because at that point forensic science was not a thing. So just the way they handled her body, how those shown doctors were in on it. You know what I mean? Like the doctors are in on it. You've got let's see, who was it? I forget the name of the gentleman who had the whiskey and stuff like that. He's the one who was making the poison batches of whiskey, passing them out and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just so disgusting and so pointedly just diabolical, like that it is unfathomable. It's like, how do you, and the fact that like you are positioning yourself like you're a friend, like he even knew some Osage. Hale was like even kind of spoke some of their language. I think, which, I think we've read enough books to know that like when you approach people in their language and stuff, like you're definitely way more warm to them because it's like, yo, you're going out of your way to kind of like have this connection with me to be able to communicate in a way that I can understand fully. And you're using that to take advantage of people and to gain their trust and to, it was giving Columbus vibes, it's like you show up and you notice that these people are like kind and beautiful and they just
Right
happen
to
to
the
have all these
fucking-
resources and you're like, you know what I need to do? Tear some shit up.
Yeah,
Steal
start
some shit.
pimping. Yeah.
Start pimping. Yeah.
Start pimping. I
Sad.
guess the other thing that just really blew my mind was just how much people are willing to lie to get what they want. I'm going to say just especially men, just because that's all I've ever dated. So I know like all people lie, but just you should never underestimate what men are willing to lie about to get what they want.
Shit.
And
or women, like you said, I think people
or
will.
pure people for sure, because I mentioned it's very cold, so I've been binge watching 90 Day Fiance with my daughter.
Oh no.
It's been such a good time. We were having so much fun. So just the amount, I was like, how are people able to, for one, lie this much? And how are these people able to believe them? Like, seriously, like, do you really, why can't you just be satisfied with somebody who's on your level? Why do you need someone who is at a disadvantage from you and super hot?
I mean, why not? Is the real question.
Because you wouldn't accept, like, you want somebody to accept you even though you're not super hot, but you're not willing to accept somebody for who they are.
That is so crazy to me every single time, though.
Cause
That be taking me
it's like,
out.
yeah,
And
I've
then
been
if
lying. I've been lying about what I look like, but hopefully she'll be cool with it. Cause, you know, but you are only going over there because of how she looks. Explain it,
it's
Moni,
people.
now.
It's people. People are dumb. Like, we're all hypocrites. Like, I mean, like, at the end of the day, we always expect more of other people than we expect of ourselves, which is why shit like this happens, right? Like, you know, you can go in and talk yourself into, you know, I wouldn't murder a person, but if it's an engine, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that's a different proposition.
Right. And the
Like,
only good one is a dead one.
The gentleman who blew up the house of those two, the married couple, and I forget their name now. So there's a whole point in this book, y'all, where somebody, like, they put dynamite under these people's houses because it was like, yo, we need them to die at the same time, because we need these headrights to go exactly to the mom, and she's on her way out, so we know she's dying soon, but we need to get them out so we can compile the wealth.
So yeah, because the poisoning would have been too slow and uneven.
It's just, we need to get this shit out the way. I'm tired of waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that we need.
And
them to
like
die.
the freaking coyote from Looney Tunes, sticks of dynamite.
Sticks of dynamite, guys. In real life, like, this is not a made up story, and I think it would.
And just think about how terrified it would be being Molly. Like, to me, I think that was something that was so scary to me, because imagine, like, you're a mother, you're watching your sisters, everyone around you die. You don't know who to trust. I'm sure at some point she had to realize, like, well, actually, maybe not, because it sounds like she found out about a lot of stuff during the trial.
Oh, she didn't know until the trial. That's the part that was super heartbreaking. Like you said, yes, they were all living in fear, the whole community, to the point where, you know, so we're in a time where there wasn't like just street lights and all that kind of stuff. Like in the Osage community, they were stringing lights up and stuff because they were scared. They're like, we need to illuminate this. Like, people, like, I think they knew they were targeted, but they didn't know who it was. They didn't know who they could trust. A lot of them were trying to move the hell up out of there too. So, it got to the point where
it's too hot.
It got to the point where it was like, look, we're trying to do anything we can to keep ourselves safe. But yeah, her you know, like, her sister died. Her sister got murdered, you know what I'm saying, like, got shot. They don't know who did that. And then, you know, your mom is slowly dying. You know, everybody around you is dying, basically. And then you have I don't know, man. Like, it's just, that's crazy to have your husband as the one who's actively helping to murder you. And then to hear on trial, like, after you've had kids with him and everything, she still didn't believe it at first. She refused to believe it before he actually testified, because in the book, he agreed to testify. Hale was pissed, and he was like, during the trial and stuff like that, like when he was going to go up there and speak against Hale, the lawyer went up to the bench and was like, can we take a break or something like that, which was pretty unprecedented, but they let him talk to Ernest, and then he came back out and was like, yeah, I ain't gonna testify. And then, but eventually he ends up saying his piece, and not until she heard that man say it with his own mouth would she believe it. She just couldn't believe it. Like, could not believe it.
Been there. Like, it's just wild, because it's like, what? Because it goes beyond what you think humans are capable of. Like, it's like when you see, it's kind of like the opposite of when you see Surya Bonali do that backflip onto one foot. It's like, wow, I didn't even know people could do that. It's like, that is incredible. What a feat. Except her thing took a lot of talent and hard work. It doesn't take any talent or hard work to be like, you know, a piece of shit.
Well, it doesn't, but it takes a lot of hard work to continuously cover up murders and to get, I mean, like,
that's
that is a lot of work.
That was not zero work.
The amount of work that it takes to keep people, because I mean, like, you have to continuously be paying people off. You have to continuously, you know, be making promises and remembering. Like, you even have to be like, Ernest, your dumb ass can't go up here and tell them this because you're blowing up the whole shit. Like, you have to hope that none of the people, like, crack in the network of
get a conscience.
Yeah, but like you said, it's like, if you used all of that effort that you're using to do this, to do one thing fucking good, or just to leave people alone.
Yes, or to do something good for yourself. Like, you don't have to hurt people. Like, it's not I think people think like when something good is happening for someone else, it's taking something away from them. And that's just not like how life isn't a zero-sum game. We all have more. Like, the more we share, the more we have. So it doesn't even have to be this whole thing of like, what it's like that player haters ball. It's like, why has God is giving me so little and everybody so much? It's like,
Wow.
get out of here with that. Like,
I
you
wish that could just pop up right now.
hate,
That's
hate,
hilarious
hate,
reference.
hate. But like, this is like, I mean, I've had people in my life that I don't get along with or don't like or whatever, but I can't think of ever going through these links to harm anyone ever. Like, I've never felt a hatred that intense, I don't think.
Like vengeful, honestly. And I mean, like, that's great. I think that a lot of people, like, it's funny because for me, on the opposite end of like being unimaginable, like, it'd be unimaginable to me that there's people out here whose hearts are fucking pure. I'd be like, really? There's people like that? For real? Like, I mean, and I don't know if it's just because, I mean, I have witnessed, not like necessarily firsthand, but it's like, a cousin, or you have a family member or a friend, or you've witnessed this shit, so it's not impossible. And I've never been the kind of person that's like, oh yeah, that would never happen to me. It's like, I've been under no illusion that I am special in any way, that the universe is protecting me from any fucking thing. We're all just people. Anything can happen to anybody. Anybody can get it.
I guess, like, it's just, I guess this amount of organization for it, I guess. Like, I can see someone snapping, but like, just to have an ongoing, like, every day looking into the face of your children, knowing that you're slowly killing their mother. Like, to me, that's a different level of, like, I don't, it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, I could see how, because that was actually the first episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation. Wow, I know you were waiting for me to bring up Star Trek. You're welcome. And it was with Q. He was like the Grand Inquisitor, and he was basically putting humanity on trial. It's like, do y'all deserve to keep on living? I think I might just like blip y'all out. And Captain Picard had to make a case for humanity.
What was his case?
He was like, we do some good stuff too.
Such as?
He listed it. It was in the future, so they were better.
That's true.
In the future.
So it was aspirational then. What would you...
They ended racism.
If you had to give a case for humanity so that we didn't get blipped out of existence, what would be your case? Who would I be? Your main point? Who would I be arguing it to? Whoever you just said, the blip guy, Q. The person who could just end us all.
Okay, Q.
Him.
Okay, so Q, from the Q continuum, we're entertaining.
We're a mess and it's hilarious.
Yeah, like, you're not gonna get like the Vulcans. They're like real peaceful and methodical, but yawn town.
Wow.
You get rodeos.
Mm-hmm. You get twerking.
You get roller skating. Have you ever seen black people roller skate? It's pretty great.
It's festive.
You get gymnastics, fireworks. People do some really great things sometimes for one another. I guess that's our thing. Like, as awful as we can be, that's as wonderful as we can be.
I mean, honestly,
did I do it? Yay! I did it. We're still here.
You did it. I mean,
were you coming with an argument for saving humanity?
No, I don't think I have one.
Oh, it's like, hey,
that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I don't blame you. Actually, this fucking ghetto here, man. Like, I don't, and it's like, I have to make the argument for a bunch of people who ain't shit and never will be, so it'd be different if I could like be like, these are the ones that are cool, but it's just like, there's no way to really, it's like all or nothing. So I don't know what I would say. I actually probably would be standing there stuttering like, oh, well, I like the point that you're saying we're entertaining. That's pretty good.
Well, for
So
Q,
if you're
that's pretty
bored,
much what he was there for.
okay, so yeah, you knew the
Yeah,
audience.
it really, persuasion, you have to change your tactics depending on who you're trying to persuade.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. This isn't, I tend to be on the other end of the spectrum of like, I don't know that this even really matters. And people are the worst because look at this book. I can give you one good reason why we shouldn't be here. The Osage Indians, okay?
What we did
How
to
about
them.
that? Yeah, we as in the collective humanity. Because even like, I can't even separate that from myself, I guess, if I'm talking to Q about it or Hugh or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it was cute.
It's like we did this as a group.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Everybody
Terrible.
in on it, but it's, I think a couple things. Well, no, first thing I think we should take a break, and then I'm going to come back with the keys to fixing humanity.
Damn. I can't wait for this, guys. Let's take a break and come right back. So welcome back, you guys, from the break. This is exciting because Kat says she got the keys, y'all, and I'm trying to understand what they are.
Yes, the keys to fixing humanity. So first and foremost, we have to realize that the master's tools will not help dismantle the master's house. So I know everyone's like, hey, we got to get money. You can get all the money you want. Still a nigger.
No.
Just nigga in a coop. So, but one thing that will help us to create a better future is art. Art helps you to envision a better future. We're not going to get to a better future with the same thinking that got us here. We're going to have to start thinking new thoughts, and it's going to feel weird, but it's going to be better. Okay. So I did it. I fixed you.
I do think that gives me some hope.
Okay.
That's very, very nice. And it does speak, we were talking a little bit on the break just about the relevance of today, like exploring how some of the themes in the book will parallel kind of things that we see now, like these events. Because I want to say that even Ebony mentioned when we were exploring The Great Gatsby, she was like, did you ever think about how like the 1920s was just a wild time? And like how now feels like that too. And so how things are cyclical or whatever. But just understanding how like these historical events that happen over time, how they still kind of, I don't know, like there's a relevance today, even with corruption, like that's still a thing. Inequality, that's still a thing. And how, I don't know, I think sometimes like the past gets romanticized to a point where you're not really learning about it fully, like what you were saying before about how the way that history is presented in a very segmented way, and it's not just told as like one big story. So you take this one part of history, you apply yourself to it, and then you create this sort of, it's not even history anymore, it's like it's folklore, or it's something else. And so I feel like you see that in some of our political figures. You see them embodying some of this Wild West bullshit that we kind of saw in the 20s and stuff like that, where there weren't like actual police yet. They were very like reluctant to bring in police officers, but there might be somebody who was considered a deputy, or because I want to say Hale was that, he kind of was like given some sort of legal power over the community because he had access and he had money, and he was able to use that to kind of get what he wanted. And we see that now. I don't know if you can think of any specific examples, Kat, of how that might be a thing now, but
you mean like them
we're not going to say his name.
Oh, okay. I don't know it. One of our state senators who's trying to ban free bus rides on election day to somehow keep things fair. Like that's what the bill is proposing. So to go through the step of trying to make sure just on this particular day there's no free bus rides, which is a tradition to make sure everyone has access to vote regardless of your transportation.
It's pretty pointless.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, dog.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And it's
like
like
it.
y'all are not cowboys, and cowboys weren't who y'all
Cowboys.
think they were.
Here's the other thing.
At
This is how
all.
you know the first cowboys were black, because everyone wants to act like there were no cowboys. If they were white, they wouldn't have called them boys. They'd have been cowmen. Like, that's how you know they were black, and be like, tell them boys to round up them cows. Like, yeah, that's how etymology is pretty scientific, but yes, it becomes apocryphal, where it's just like, oh, the glorious, wonderful, pure times and the noble savages. It's like, nah, everybody's just people.
They were murdering these people for their stuff. And even when they weren't, even if you're not talking about the Osage Nation, like at this point in time, like anytime there was an opportunity for settlers to make money, people died. You know what I mean? Like it was always very cutthroat, and I don't think that's ever really changed. Like I think that is a very American sort of, and I won't just stop it at American. I think it happens everywhere, but
it's
like
human.
It's
but
a very human thing.
We can evolve past that. I really believe that.
Well, I'm glad you have hope. It's good to have people who have that, because I tend to be like, well, I guess this is.
I mean, I think we're both testaments to that. Like we exist at a point in time where the majority of people like us would not be as educated as we are, have the literacy that we have the access to financial systems that we have the access to the vote that we have, having an uncut clitoris. Like there's all of these
threw
things.
It all in, guys.
Yeah, threw it all in there, man. Like we are, even with everything that's still in place systematically to hold us back, there's been enough advancement that we are an exceptionally pair of privileged, uppity Negro females.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. It feels good.
Yeah. It's better. Like that's the thing. I think things are better for us than they were for our moms. I think our moms had a better go than our grandmothers. I don't even like talking about my great grandmothers too much, because that's a hair's breadth from slavery. And I just think that, and I really, really hope that, but I'm scared because I don't know if my daughter's going to have a better time. Like there's like fewer Planned Parenthoods now than when, I was her age. So, I just want to make sure everything keeps going in the right direction.
Well, I'm with you. I second that. I definitely feel the same way. I'm definitely grateful. I see the privilege. I see all of that. Who was the guy from space again?
It's one letter, babe.
Okay, it's still Q. If he were,
you need to just write it down.
I got a pencil and paper. I got a pen. Okay, I have nothing.
I was just thinking, I write on the screen. I'm gonna text it to
you. Q, so hard.
It's a capital Q.
Q. Things were worse than this now.
I have to send you a picture of them.
Man, things were worse than this now, Q. And so I still, even with all the advances and everything you're saying, I still don't know how to make a case for humanity. I just don't. Not one that wouldn't end with us just all dying. You know what I mean? The sun is going to explode anyway. We're going to die anyway. So if he was just going to do it faster, I don't know. It's like,
I was watching.
Just know we're terrible.
Okay, wait. Let me. Oh no, I just
like we're actively trying to destroy ourselves at every chance we get.
Well, like children, it's like when you hang out with kids. I
don't know if I could defend. It would be like, but they're cute, like you say. They knock stuff over, and like I don't know. I don't even know how to defend it, man. It's like this is pretty fucked up. I don't know. Okay. We're really mean to each other. We don't even try. So.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to sending stuff is like super hard.
See, remembering Q is super hard.
We
both have our own oppression. Okay.
Ooh. Okay. I need to start watching Picard. So Q comes back on that because Picard has his own series on Paramount Plus.
Of course, I knew that.
Of course, duh.
You didn't know
And
that? The hell?
where he's
Everyone knows.
basically he's trying to save Data's daughter.
He had a daughter?
Yeah,
He was
Data.
hunching?
He
Or
felt
was
well.
it
Actually, Data was 100% autonomically.
anatomically?
Thank you. Anatomically correct. So Data did have that thing on him,
But
and
he had sperm?
he didn't have sperm, but he had a thing.
But okay, so we're gonna pretend like we don't need sperm to get somebody pregnant?
No, but he would reproduce. Like he made another android. Like I'm just saying he could get.
Without his penis.
He does have a penis though. That's what I'm trying to say. He's got a robot
Okay.
penis.
But he didn't use it to make another
No, but he
robot.
did
Okay.
not. Yeah, he didn't use it to reproduce. He just used it. He had a girlfriend. Like he had a human girlfriend for a while, and
He 3D printed her.
They did the thing. But yeah, his daughter, he just had to go in the lab.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, he was just hunching for fun. Good for you, Data.
Yeah.
Because I got one.
He's like, I think his little line, he was like, yeah, I'm programmed in multiple techniques.
Oh, what program you got? Hopefully it was the best kind.
Okay, so do you see him?
No. Oh. He looks like he belongs in the Vatican.
He was the Grand Inquisitor. Like that was from Dostoevsky, is it? This guy who did War and Peace. Not Tchaikovsky. God, I always get that messed up. It was from the Brothers Karamazov, and it was like a story within a story in that, the Grand Inquisitor. So yeah, he is supposed to look like someone from the what is it?
He got the jewels. It's definitely
Like the Spanish Inquisition. I think that's what they were going for.
Okay. All right. He was fancy. He got a big chain on. He's got the Pusheisty thing, except it's not over his mouth, and then he's got like a Pope hat on a little bit with like a red cloak, some red gloves, some silk gloves, probably for slapping bitches. Okay, I see you. You out here. And he looks like he has a little bit of powder on his face too. He's got makeup on.
Well, he's an actor.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know if they tried to make him extra pasty or if that was real life.
Sure. That's fair.
Okay.
Oh, that's why
He's
I
out
couldn't
here.
find it. There he goes. Yeah. So there we go. Now I want to find out who the name of that author is, though.
Well, now I feel like he can't kill us, though. He looks crazy.
No, he had like crazy. Q was basically he had like God powers.
Well,
like,
I'm saying
he could just zap people.
I just feel like if Cat Williams was there and he had a chance to roast him, you know what I mean? It's like, how are you gonna come up here and say we like? How are you?
Dostoevsky. Sorry. That was Sue who wrote The Grand Inquisitor.
I'm sorry. I just want to cut him up now that I see him.
Yeah, but yeah, the actor who played him, he was really good. It was always funny because
Sidebar. Sorry.
What's that?
I said I feel like that was a hell of a left turn there.
It was. But yes, we successfully defended humanity against Q.
Cat did. Thank you.
And yeah, it was from the Brothers Karamazov, book 5. Pro and Contra, chapter 5, The Grand Inquisitor.
Wow. Q is returning.
Yeah. But do you want to spin the wheel?
Well, I want to wrap the book up just real quick. I do want to spin the wheel. I'm excited to spin the wheel. But I just wanted to say,
rate it.
Okay. Well, I won't let you. Don't worry.
Okay.
I think we all kind of know how you feel about it, though. So
I don't think it was in any way
bad.
poorly written.
Yeah.
It was just the subject matter was too painful.
I honestly feel like I think I'm glad that you're saying that too, because for anybody who's going to take in this narrative, I do think you have to prepare yourself for a very gritty and raw sort of book, because again, it is presented in an investigative journalistic style. It's giving facts, straight up murders, like they're talking about it in depth, so they're not holding back any punches. So if you are sensitive to that, know that going into this book, whether you're reading it or listening to it. And it is deeply sad, so I definitely understand But I like and appreciate the style in which he wrote this book, because I did feel like it sort of added a little bit of depth to the story and authenticity, and not taking a side in either way, and not necessarily creating a narrative, which is probably why indigenous people from the tribe enjoyed the book better than the movie, because they're just speaking the facts about what happened. I mean, obviously Hollywood has to give some liberties when you're presenting like an actual film and stuff like that. There does have to be a story. But yeah, I just liked it. I thought that the perspective kind of gave you the opportunity to engage emotionally with it without being manipulated toward anybody's sort of point of view in the story. Like, just get it given the facts and stuff like that. And it kind of punches you in your face. So if I had to rate this book, dang, yeah, I mean, it was well written, and I have to give it 5 out of 5. What am I gonna give it? Oh, the blankets that they wore. 5 out of 5 of the blankets, because I just feel like he did a really good job of digging and stuff. And like, even in the book, it kind of showed like he did a lot to get to this, because people who were investigating this at the time were coming up dead. And, for him to take this on, I don't know that he thought that it was going to be as involved. So for him sticking with it, and then like meeting people along the way who were like, thank you so much for like telling this story. Thank you so much for honoring the people who these aren't just, people in a book for us. These are our family members. These were our tribe, tribe members.
And thank you for everyone who kept reporting it, because they wouldn't have come to investigate it if people hadn't kept bringing it up. Because that is the thing. It does feel hard. It's so easy to give up.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, because of the way we talked about the book, if you were to read it, you're still going to get stuff that we didn't like necessarily touch on. So I would recommend it. I think just from the standpoint of just knowing your history, knowing the history of this country, knowing that this was just 100 years ago, not that, like when you think back, like that's not that long ago. There are people that are just, I want to say one of the last people who was alive during the Tulsa riots, who was I think they were trying to get her some reparations or something like that. Maybe she just passed, and they refused to give that lady anything. It's crazy how that happens and how these pardons happen. Because we were saying on the break how Hale, so I guess we should say like it ended with Hale. He did get convicted or whatever and was in jail for a long time, but he ended up being pardoned. And yeah, a lot of the people involved never got caught. So it was a tragedy, but also like just because something's sad doesn't mean you can't shy away from it. You still have to illuminate the truth. You know what I mean? And I think that if this story did that for the Osage people, I'm really grateful that he decided to tell this story and get it out there. Because like I said, I mean, you have indigenous actors and actresses being able to play these parts and represent their community and stuff. And we all know that representation is important. So even though it was a sad thing, hopefully there's some more opportunities for indigenous people to not always be talking about the, sad things that happen. Hopefully they get an opportunity to get represented in some more like lighthearted and beautiful ways, like highlighting their other art and some of their love stories and some of their successes and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. From that perspective, even though it was really heavy. So it was a good book.
Okay. All right, now can we spin the wheel?
Spin it! It's the F.A.B Award!
Yay! This is the time of year where we get to revel in all the fun time we had in 2023. So, get ready for it. Maybe you're getting one. You don't know.
It's awesome.
Check your mailbox. Look behind you. We're right behind you right now with a F.A.B Award.
Man. Yeah, this is exciting, guys. So this will be our second year, and we're going to be talking about our faves, our favorite books, our favorite episodes, all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited to get into it. It's a great palate cleanser after coming off of this book that we've avoided and finally reviewed. So
it's like our Dundies.
I'm grateful. It is. Yay.
So yeah.
I
So
look
come back
forward to it.
around. We appreciate everyone who's been listening. We got some more followers on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who's been commenting. Keep doing that. Review us. Love us. Pray for us. Hold us gently in your hearts.
Oh, wow.
Send us gifts of money on Cash App and Patreon. And continue to remember that your body belongs to you.
Absolutely, you guys. And yeah, continue doing the work that makes you feel good in this world. Because again, I couldn't even. It's hard out here. Y'all just heard the stories. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. So
Cold world.
it's a cold world out here, y'all. So yeah, find the warmth in it. Be the light. Be the light and bask in it. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks
Thank you.
to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club.
Cheers. Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.